Assalamu alaikum. I just wanted to quickly record this video, truly sharing my experience in the past 3 years in the 30,000 or more that I've invested into courses, programs, mentors, what has worked and what hasn't worked. We'll also give you a lot of industry secrets on why people do things and how they do it exactly. So what I want you to do is just truly hear me out, understand what I'm trying to say, and listen to this with an open mind. Right. So in the past 3 years, like I mentioned, I have spent 30,000 or more in courses, mentors, programs. Um, so my experience is in the high ticket sales industry. High ticket is basically anything 2,000 or more. So I've got companies from 0 to 55,000 a month, 0 to 80 something a month, and worked in like four different types of industry. So I know exactly what it takes to go from zero to actually making some sort of money. So getting into stop buying courses. I know you want to make money. I know you want a bit more income. Who doesn't, right? But what you need to understand is these people making a lot of money on Amazon FBA, drop shipping, trading. Why the hell are they selling courses? Is because selling courses is higher leverage for them when it comes to how much time they put in and how much outputs they get. So I wanted to kind of refer to this diagram to explain what exactly I mean. So let's say you see this guy on YouTube or whatever, Instagram, saying that he makes a lot of money from Amazon FBA and he wants to teach people how to do it. So basically, what anything in life is energy inputs into processes. Processes being, let's say, for example, this guy, he's doing Amazon FBA, being the processes, and the outputs he's getting. Let's say he's making multiple five figures a month, whatever it is, right? Now, for him to get more outputs with less inputs, what he's done is just made a course, recorded a couple of videos, and made a course where he's getting unlimited outputs. I mean, he can get unlimited outputs without basically any input, right? All he has to do is market that on his social media, etc. So that is the whole story behind courses. Courses and programs are different, two different things. So courses are basically just videos, and programs are basically people giving personal support. Where courses, you don't get much personal support because it's just videos they record and here you go, right? But what I've realized is before buying any sort of program course, you have to understand that if they don't give you personal support, how the hell are you going to make the transition from not knowing anything to actually making money from that thing? That's where people fail, and that's where this whole bad view of courses comes from. That you don't get any personal support, and obviously you're going to fail because it's completely new. Um, so what I'm talking about today is the only thing that has actually made me money and I've actually succeeded with, right? And a lot of people I've seen have succeeded very quickly with this. Before I do carry on, I am getting my house extended, so I'm in the attic, so please ignore the background and any background noises you hear. So, getting into the mindset. Now, I know you're probably watching this video. There's only three types of people right now. There are skeptics, right? You're probably thinking, what is this guy talking about? If he says it is that easy to make money with what he's about to tell me, why doesn't everyone do it? Right? The skeptics, that's what they're thinking. Second person, would say, yeah, maybe if it makes sense, I'll do it when the time is right. Right? The time isn't right now. I don't have the time to do something else. Right? We're all grown adults here. We all know that if you find something important enough, you'll make time for it. But anyway, the third person would be someone who is open, who is ready to actually take action, right? That you don't have any pre-existing like beliefs holding you back, putting a barrier in front of you, saying no, nothing can actually work. But anyway, what is that thing that works so well and the thing that can actually make you money in 2023? It's called high ticket closing. Now, as I mentioned to you, my experience and my background is in high ticket. So basically, closing simply is where you are selling high ticket programs. Programs for, again, like I mentioned, these people that are selling courses, programs to teach people how to do things, certain things. Like, so what you're doing basically is you're coming on a call for them and just basically selling whatever they have to offer. And the value exchange there would be that, again, they have to put less input, as in they don't have to come on a call, and they have you as a sales rep, as the processes, and getting more outputs. So that's the value exchange there. So basically, the idea is, let's say you're selling a $5,000 package, right? What the agreement is depending on your skill, on how good you are, they give you, let's say, 10%, 15%, or up to 20% if you're amazing, right? So let's say you sell a $5,000 package, you get 10% of that. So $500 just for closing a deal. And then you don't have to do any fulfillment. There's no more cost. There's no nothing. That's why I believe this is an incredible way of making money. And as I mentioned before, there's so many people trying to sell courses and programs now that this is needed. So coming back to what this whole program stuff is. So within these programs, what they're trying to do is they book consultations with people who are interested in what they do, right? And when they come on a call, that's where you come in. You basically understand whether you can help them with that program or not. So that's your job to actually sell to them. Now, how do you actually do that, right? I do want to say that you'll find a couple of programs actually teaching you how to actually sell to other people, right? So they're teaching you closing. Please do not go into any of those programs. They're a bunch of nonsense, right? Because what they say is, okay, we'll give you a certification about, okay, you're ready to be a closer. There's no such thing, right? Me, and I'll actually show you. So I'm in this community where we're a couple of business owners trying to scale to seven figures. So in this community, it's either people doing 100K a month or about to in the next couple of months. So, by the way, this is a paid community. Not everyone can get into it. But anyway, like these guys, including myself, I don't care if someone has just if some random person has given you a certification that, okay, you're ready to close. Is whether you know the principles of closing, right? The principles of closing and what it actually takes to close people. Close meaning selling to people, right? So let's get into how to actually sell to someone and what this whole thing is about. How do you actually sell the service, whether it's yours or if you're closing for someone else? So it's very important that you understand these basic principles for you to be able to like literally go into any industry and do very well. So the idea is that people, like I mentioned here, they will come on calls just to find out more and to see whether you can help them or not. And all basically they're coming on a call for is to get certainty. Get certainty whether you are the right person or the program that can actually help them. And I'll tell you exactly how to do it. So the idea would be that, let's say 10 people come on a call, and you should be able to close at least 25. That's the industry standard. That the job of the business owner that you work with would be to book quality consults of people that are interested in the service. And then, yeah, so these people should be quality enough to actually for you to close them, basically. That's it. And there's something called the law of averages. There's something called the law of averages that basically dictates that if you speak to a certain amount of people, you should get a certain percentage of closes all the time. And I don't know how it works. I still don't understand how to this day, but it's just the law of the world that there's always patterns in things. Like there's no matter someone's age or background or what exact situation is, there's always this like a specific amount of car crashes or deaths or whatever it is, because it's just world of just patterns. If you just don't question it, just understand this how industries and businesses work. Like I heard a lot of people saying that there's no safety in businesses, or all that stuff. So the way businesses have safety is relying on their numbers. Everything is numbers based, right? So they're not just relying on blind luck to make money the next month. It's numbers based, like certain things they have to do to actually make money the next month. So just to clarify, when people say there is no certainty within business, you do have to realize that, let's say if you do have a job, you are working in a business. So if the business owner doesn't have certainty, then how do you have certainty? So that's one thing to remember. That's why I really am a big believer that you need to have the skills to actually make sure that you'll be safe no matter what, right? Because I've known people including myself, who've just been fired for absolutely no reason, without them even giving you a reason why they fired you. Like I know someone who went to a amazing uni, Warwick Uni, um, got into the big four companies like EY, and got to a managerial role, and then just one day they ask you to come into an office, and then they're like, okay, we don't need you anymore. Like that just defeats the whole purpose of why you even got a job. And there's no certainty within that. If the business owner doesn't think that you're actually providing enough value, just let you go. So again, you need to learn skills like this. So, what is closing? It's not convincing anyone. It's not pressuring anyone. It's not the cheesy sales tactics that you've heard of. There's no manipulation, mind control. Sure, you can do that, but don't do it. You don't need to. But anyway, coming to this diagram, how to actually close someone and sell to people. You see this fire? This fire basically represents, let's say at the top would be someone wanting 10K a month. They want a specific car, a watch, a house. Right, that's the fire. That's the thing that they're saying that this desire, right? But there's always that internal thing that's getting them to want this, right? Because it's not just for absolutely no reason you want 10K a month. It's because your internal desire is status, power, freedom, security. There's always that core desire that pushes it. So, like for example, you have this core desire of status, power, freedom, right? Which then leads you to set a goal like 10,000 a month, which then creates a problem. I don't know how to get 10,000 a month, which creates enough pain for them to take action. Funny thing about humans is they always, like humans are always doing things for two reasons, right? Which is to get away from pain and go towards pleasure. Like I've heard this with addictions as well. Like I'm not an expert, but I'll just tell you what I've heard. That like you find the current moment so underwhelming that you do that addicting act to find dopamine, and what happens is it's like a vicious cycle. Because after you do that, it comes back again. It's just going around in circles. Just like when you find a moment very underwhelming, you pick up your phone, scroll through TikTok, like a what do you call them? Gambler, like, or maybe I'll find a dopamine hit here, right? Something interesting to watch. So it's very interesting. So people only do anything for two reasons: is because they want to get away from pain and go towards pleasure, right? So the idea is that the business owner that you work with, they will actually book calls with people who have that core desire, status, power, freedom, who have the goal that matches with what they do. If let's say if the goal is for this specific person is 10,000 a month, they have that problem. I don't know how to, and this guy is teaching how to do Amazon FBA or whatever it is, right? That creates enough pain for this specific person to come on a call with you and just basically find out whether you can help them. And when people have enough pain, that's when they actually act. That's when they actually act into doing something different to get away from that pain. So all you have to do is on that call is give them confidence and certainty that this is the right thing for them. That's all they're on the call for, is getting them certainty and confidence that you are the right person. So another thing to add, humans mostly, like I mentioned, the pain and pleasure thing, they do it because they feel like doing something. So if you can make a human feel like what you want them to do, you'll be an incredibly powerful person. I'm not saying this in a manipulative way. It's going to be very effective in your life communicating with others as well. That all you have to do is just speak the other person's language, and the way you speak the other person's language is getting to understand who they are, what their language is. So let's say if you wanted to make a baby like do something you wanted to do, you'll speak its language and make it feel like what you want it to do, rather than if let's say if you're speaking to your parents, right, your mother, your father, like you'll speak their language to get them to do what you want them to do, right? So just like that, when someone like that comes on a call with you, you need to understand what the hell is their core desire, what their goal is, what their problem is, what their pain is, and just basically speak their language to give them certainty that you can actually help them. That's it. It's pretty simple. And the thing about manipulation and scamming people and all that stuff is, see, like, if they don't have a core desire or a pain or a problem, there's nothing you can sell them. There's no convincing. If you try and convince someone who doesn't have a need, you can't sell anything, right? So, coming to this example, like I mentioned, pain and going towards pleasure. So there's a gap. There's always a gap. So the reason, again, this skill is so important is because this is a perennial skill. This will never go away, because there will always be a gap in people's lives. Like, I think this is a verse in the Quran that if Allah was able to give you a mountain worth of gold, you'd always want more. So humans would always want more. They desire more. So whatever time it is, 2023, 2030, there will always be a gap in people's lives, where they are and where they actually like to get to. And all you have to do is understand a specific avatars, like who the person is, what their pain is, and where they'd actually like to get to, and identify the gap. That why can't they make the transformation themselves? And that's where you come in. So what I see a lot of people doing is they commoditize what they're selling. That is basically saying that I will give you 30 videos, I will give you this deliverable, I'll give you this many one-to-ones, I'll give you this many. So basically you're commoditizing your service. So commoditizing basically puts you in a way where positions you in a way where, okay, where can I find this cheaper? Rather than understanding this specific person, understanding where they'd actually like to get to, understanding why not themselves. They'll say, I want to avoid people buy. For these are the couple of reasons why people buy any program or course. I've done like thousands of repetitions with this, so I can confidently say this. So they want to avoid wasting time, wasting any money, or go through any unnecessary stress, right? So those are the typical answers people give why they can't make the transformation themselves. That's where you come in and say, hey, we can offer you our program, which basically fits where the gap is, to make sure you make the transformation as quick as possible and as efficiently as possible. So like the magic pill example. So the way to charge more and to sell for a lot more is basically to be outcome based and transformation based. So the magic pill example is basically, let's say if you're selling someone the outcome of 10,000 a month. Now, 10,000 a month, if you look at it as an outcome, which is like 120,000 a year, if you're charging someone like 10% of that, 120,000 a year, 12,000, even then it makes sense that you can actually charge that. And if you can, with reasonable certainty, guarantee them that they will get there, they will pay you that. Trust me, I've sold 20K deals, 30K deals. I understand how it happens. But let's say even if you price it at 3K, 4K, to guarantee someone the end goal, right? They will pay for it. But if you're on the sales call telling them, hey, you get this many videos, you get this thing, they don't care about the thing. If you just talk about the things that you'll get, they'll just commoditize you and try and find somewhere cheaper. But if you can kind of give them certainty towards the end goal that they already wanted, that's when they will actually pay you the money that you want, right? So all you need to understand is, after you fully understand these principles, these basic principles, all you need to understand is, whenever you start working for a business, who is it that you're selling to, so you can speak their language, and then what problem are you solving, which again the business owner will tell you. So that's why I told you, do not go into these training programs where they teach you closing, because they can't possibly tell you who you're going to be working with, what problem you'll be solving, because a business owner themselves are going to give you that. There's no script. Scripts are ingenuine. People are emotional creatures. They're social creatures. They'll be able to tell that you're reading off a script. That's why I teach with principles. That's why I've been able to like transition from 3 to 4 different industries and do pretty well in all of them. Like, I was dominating because I understood principles rather than just following some script. And I'd rather rely on principles rather than just reading off something. And the mindset to have before a call is, you're not selling to someone. It's a help call. It's a help call where the only way they're gonna actually buy is because if they had a problem, they thought that you understand where they'd actually like to get to, and all you're saying, hey, I understand that you have this problem. You've been struggling for this many years. This is happening in your life, right? And you want to get to 10,000 a month. and you want to be able to buy a car, whatever. So basically speaking their own words and saying, okay, with reasonable certainty, with my program that we're offering in this business, we can get you from this to this without any stress, wasting any money or time. That's it. That's it. It's literally a help call. If you're in it for yourself, they'll be able to tell. Like, this is how to actually have the right mindset to even be able to close someone. Right? So you need to be a friend, be pretty direct. Again, when you have it in your mind you're trying to sell to them, again, you're gonna feel weird. You're gonna feel awkward. Your tonality is gonna be weird. So just don't do it. You're a friend. You're just trying to see if you can help them or not. There's no sale. You know the salesy nonsense that you've heard. It's not that. Um, and then moving on to, you're the leader. You're leading the conversation. Like, you need to ask them specific questions, understand their pains, where they'd actually like to get to, why can't they do it themselves. That's it. That's all you're doing. And you remember when I said people do anything for one reason, is because they feel like it. So doubt and certainty are both feelings, so you can either give them doubt at the end of the call or certainty. If you give them certainty, then they'll buy it. That's it. That's all humans want. Now I'll give you an example of myself. Like, I was still in a closing role till last month. So it's July right now. Like, my last month was June. I was like, it's pretty easy. Like, it becomes so efficient if you do it over a certain amount of repetitions. I started off with no experience either. Like, I had no clue. I literally started off with this information. I had to go through a lot of nonsense to find out what actually works. So here's an example of what I did last month. So, like, I worked with this guy called Brian, right? So last month, here's an example. So I basically got on 23 calls and I closed 12 of those calls. So that's how good I was with the help of Allah, because the industry standard is 25%. So I was literally basically twice as good as the industry. So 7K, 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 7K. So these are 7K deals. Like, the amount of 7,000 paid in fulls I've closed, and the total cash collected was 81,000. Just me alone, I collected 81,000 for that guy, right? That I worked for. And basically, because I was good, my commission was 15%, which was 12,150. And I'm literally doing this on a side, right? I did this on the side. And the reason I've now left it is because it's just not worth it for me, because of what I'm doing with my own stuff now. So I was like, it's just easy money. Let's continue doing it. But if you're in a position where you're not making any money, or like you're not happy with the amount of money you're making, like, imagine like just 23 calls. The average call was like 45 minutes. Even if you want to do like a third of this, like, you do the math, right? This is literally the most highest leverage thing you can do to make the money you want. Stop looking at these FBA and all these courses, because they will not get you to your goal without like wasting so much on trying and testing and all the nonsense that comes with fulfillment and delivery and all that stuff. This is a pretty good way to make money. What else? Yeah. So moving on. So 12,000, pretty good for something on the side. But anyway, moving on to, what should the call look like. So I'll go through these. It's pretty simple. I've laid it out in very simple and easy steps. So what you're gonna do is, when someone comes on a call, obviously you need to make a bit of like a relationship with them. Like, get to know them, what they do, just to have that human connection with them, right? Step two is, like, what made you book the call? Ask them what made you book the call. Find the intent. Find this. Remember, why did you come on the call? What is it that can help you today? Right? Then you ask for a specific goal. Let's say, for example, you're selling a financial kind of help, right? So they say, I want to get a solid goal at the start. Like, I want to get to 3,000 a month, 10,000 a month, whatever it is, right? And ask them, why is it that you want that? So you're finding remember the fire example, and then that gives you the idea of, okay, that is the intent that they came on the call with. That is the thing that's going to make them buy. If there's nothing, they're like, I don't know why I'm here. Well, they're not going to buy anything from you then. Doesn't matter how much you try. So these are a couple of questions. If they have financials, are they ready to invest in the program, whatever you're selling? If not, you say, let's come back at a better time. But anyway, if you're a beginner, don't worry about that. Then you kind of understand pain. If you have a clear goal that they mentioned to you, then you can ask them, so what is the pain? what is the problem here? So like, need help with like whatever the industry specific things are. Let's say if you're selling Amazon FBA or something, right? For example, it could be anything. You're going to say, do you need help with how to find the right product? Yes. Do you need help with whatever, blah, 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 right? So you need to find the pain that they're in, the current problem, right? And then remember the example, the gap. Then you need to find the gap. How long has it been since you've been wanting to do this? Right? Is it because of lack of guidance and knowledge you haven't been like gotten started? And why is it that you need help? Is it just to avoid any unnecessary stress, wasting any money or time? So that's when you kind of find the gap, and then ask them pleasure wise, like, what happens when the goal is achieved? What will be achieved? Why do they want to do it? Why do you want to get to 10,000 a month? That's when you're going to go deeper and understanding the specific person, whether this is even the right thing or not, right? So they'll say, I want to look after my family, travel, all the things that most people want to do. And you're going to ask this incredible question. Like, trust me, this is incredible. Remember when I talked about the core desire? The core desire is what makes people act. This is basically where you're asking their core desire. Like, what is the feeling that you're chasing? Is it status, power, freedom, security? What is it that you're chasing? Love, right? So they'll tell you, and that's where you'll be able to understand them and like kind of connect with them even more, right? That's how you like separate yourself from people who end up commoditizing themselves, right? Because if you don't have that connection, people just like, yeah, he's just trying to sell me something. I'll just find this cheaper or whatever, right? And if this is not to manipulate people, I do want to make sure you understand this is not to manipulate people. It's to truly build a connection with people within that 30 to 45-minute call. Um, and then you move on to the question where you can avoid any objections. Objections is when people, when you offer them the thing, they're like, they make people get scared. It's pretty normal. I've done this many times to know, like, you get shook when people tell you a price, or it's all of a sudden you have to make this change. People start to say, right now is the right, not the right time. I can't do it now, blah, blah, blah. So that's why you're addressing it before. Like, you can ask them, like, okay, I know you want to get to this place. You have this pain, and this is the gap that you need the help. Why is now the right time? Like, time is scarce. Like, why not wait? Why is now the right time? And they'll say, because, well, I need to act now, and whatever people will say, because this has happened in my life now, so I need to act now. And then that will kind of get rid of the objection. But I need to think about it, or this is not the right time, because it just wastes time if you just wait for it till the end. So you want to get rid of any objection and make sure when you tell someone the offer, it is the right thing for them, and you genuinely and honestly believe that this is the right thing for them. Then you're gonna ask them the question of why us? Why us, as in why me? Like, why this program? And they're gonna be like, because I saw your content and blah blah blah. That's gonna get rid of the objection, that I need to look at other places. If they say that, you're gonna be like, you mentioned to me that you watch my content, you like what I do, blah blah blah, or like what we do if you're working in a business. And then comes part of the certainty. So to give them certainty, you're gonna tell them, hey, I understand. I'm gonna repeat back your situation. I'm gonna repeat back what I understood about your pain, your pleasure, what the gap is, why you need to do it now, and why us. And they say yes, then you basically tell them the offer. You tell them what program you offer, and the transformation that they desire. In their words, you speak their language, because it's for them, right? Not talking about the deliverables. You're talking about, okay, this program is going to get you from struggling to 10,000 a month and be able to travel and all that stuff, right? And you explain to them the worst case and best case scenario. Like, what's the worst thing that can happen? And there's always a guarantee with these programs. So that's what you're going to explain to them. Explain the how, break it down logically on how they're going to make the transformation. Um, you don't need to focus on the logical part too much, because again, like, you need to make them feel like this is the right thing, and it will come from your tonality and how certain you are. Right? If you're not certain with what you're selling, that's why make sure whatever program that you work with, they're not a scam. Right? You make sure that they have actual results. So then you're gonna show them the testimonials of people similar to them, right? You're gonna share your screen. Preferably, this will be on a Zoom call or a Google Meet call. You'll share them the testimonials, and at the end, you're gonna ask them before telling them the price. Do not tell them the price without knowing they have pretty good certainty that this is the right thing for them. So you're going to ask them on a scale of 1 to 10, after doing all this, on a scale of 1 to 10, how certain are you that this program can actually get you to your goal that you mentioned? If they say anything under, like, let's say 6 or below, that means you've not done a good job here. That is why this is an amazing question. So if they say anything 7 or above, you're going to say, okay, what sort of questions do you have about the program? And they'll ask their questions, you answer the questions, and then, yeah, you tell them the price. And when you tell them the price, make sure if the person that you're working with offers any discounts to make it easy for people, payment plans, whatever it is, to make it easy. You're trying to help the person, trying to help the person. If you truly show that, people will buy. And again, at the end, if you close a deal, you get a certain percentage of it. Now, again, this is a lot. I know it's a lot, but if you just understand the basic principles, and everything is going to come from, learn by doing. Everything is learned by doing. So it will come from the industry specific thing that you're selling, and the person that you work with will tell you what that is. And now objections. Let's say people, um, they say they start to make excuses, blah blah blah. If they start to make excuses, it's just because, and if they're chatting to you, it's basically because you haven't connected with them well. They're making excuses. But if they are actually saying genuine things and they're just confused, you're the coach. You're going to coach them to make the right decision for them. And if they genuinely had a pain, all you need to give them is certainty. So you're going to go back and remember what they said about pains, and if it was painful enough, you're going to remind them. I know it's a bit confusing. You can relate to them, right? See if you can help them out. And certainty. How can you give them certainty? You'll stress the guarantee more. Stress that, okay, there are other people that like them. We have helped, and they said themselves that they are certain. Then what's stopping them? Yeah, that's pretty simple. That's how you make people take the action. And the way you collect the payment is the person that you work with. They're gonna give you a Stripe link or whatever payment processor, and they're gonna pay, and then you get them onboarded. Again, business specific. You don't need a coaching program for this. You don't need any script. Again, everything will come from the business that you work with. Now, how to actually find a job, a closing job when you have no experience? Again, you're going to leverage communities, Facebook communities. Like as you can see here, here's one, um, here's another one. Like there's so many. Like every single day, like in these communities, you'll search for more. There's many more other groups. You can go on Indeed. You can come to an agreement with them where you can say, hey, I'll work for, let's say if the industry standard percentage commission is 10%, you'll say, okay, I'll work for 5% because I'm a beginner and I want to learn. And you'll come to an agreement, okay, if I don't perform in the next certain amount of calls, um, we'll split ways. So just, I don't need to explain to you how to get a job, right? Everyone starts off new. Trust me, if you understand the fundamentals and you can prove to the business owner that you know what you're talking about. If someone came to me and said all this, I would give them the job, right? So would these people. I know because, well, I know them personally. And these are actual business owners who want to scale to 100 or more thousand a month, and they need sales reps like potentially you guys to actually come in and be someone they like that they know about the industry and the specifics. And just to end it off, you, you'll see in my commission sheet, whenever someone actually closes, I write down why they actually jumped on board. Like why did they actually choose to actually go ahead with this program, and why this specific person's program. What that does is giving you data. It's giving you data to then tell the person that you're working with to put it into marketing. So it becomes like a solid machine. So again, over time, when you understand what makes people buy, what doesn't make people buy, you're getting feedback, you're judging things off of data. That's when you become a machine with closing. That's when your closing percentage goes up. At the start, it will be difficult, but over time, you'll understand it. You'll start to understand, okay, this in this specific business, and the people that I'm basically selling to, this makes them buy. This doesn't make them buy. Hopefully, this makes sense. Over time, obviously, with repetitions, everything comes. At the start, I went 55 calls with zero closes. Again, we could argue that was a case with lead generation because like I wasn't very good with lead generation, like getting interested people on the call or qualified people. But when I actually came into a business, I did 15 calls and then I got my first close. So 15 calls is pretty standard. Like if you haven't got any experience, um, yeah, it's pretty standard. And then over time, you just start getting better and better because you start collecting data whenever someone closes or when someone says no, you get why they didn't. And you basically use the reasons why people did more on the calls and speak their language further. But anyway, that's something about closing. I feel like I have given you a specific action plan to move forward. You know, you have the structure now. I'll link it in the description, the exact sales structure, the syntax, and all you need to do is just go ahead, take action, find a job, and yeah, just come to an agreement. If you do 100 applications a day for a job, like trust me, you will find them. All business owners like this are looking for character. Character being you have the intensity and you have a big enough why. That's why I got initially hired because I showed them that I had the drive to learn, and I just proved it with my actions. Then, so that's how you get a job. But coming to what I actually do now, this stuff can easily get you 7 to 10,000 a month if you were to put in the time in the next 2 to 3 months. But again, it's all missing the massive component of passive income. See, people like they get these properties, they get mortgage, and they want to rent it out, buy to let stuff like that, just to make some sort of passive income. But again, it's such high risk and not much reward at the end after all the costs that it doesn't make sense. So my background, like I mentioned, I've got businesses from 0 to 55,000, 0 to 80K or 100K plus, right? Done that with myself as well. So what I do now is basically once you get your service based business or especially marketing agencies to 10 or 15,000 a month, then it starts to get operationally a bit more difficult than it was. I'm not saying it's impossible, but it starts to get slightly more difficult than it was when you started, obviously. So what I thought to myself is, what is something that I can do that is related and something that will give me fulfillment? That is why I've decided to actually go ahead and work with Muslims, getting them from 0 to 10,000 a month, which is not really that difficult. Right? So basically my program is I get people in a 9 to 5, Muslim brothers and sisters, to actually that 7 to 10,000 a month within the next 90 days. And the way I do that, I'm gonna link a video in the description showing exactly what the structure of the program is. And again, if you are interested, if you feel like it is the right time for you to get your own thing started instead of working for someone. So the whole idea is I make the digital marketing agency alongside you, giving you step-by-step handheld guidance until you get to 7 to 10,000 a month in passive income. So we put structures in place. Again, I'll link the video in the description on how to do that exactly. Now, I'm going to be completely honest. Like, there's a lot of fake gurus, and like I mentioned, there's a lot of people trying to sell things, and most of them don't know what they're talking about. So I'm a big believer in showing what your results are. So I'll show you my Stripe account, literally, as you can see. Here's my Stripe account. Here's July 4th. Today is July 5th. I haven't even started my work day. I start my work days at 12, so let's see what I can do today. But yesterday, I ended the day with 8,500 pounds. That's around 10K USD and I think 12K Canadian dollars because I speak to people all around the world. But yeah, so if I can do that in a day, why the hell can't I help you get to that in the next 90 days, right? Or in a month, right? That will giving you all the structures and systems that I've learned. You're going to be getting my personal guidance, 24/7 message support. So again, if you're interested in that, you can check out the video that I have linked below explaining what the program is. Um, or if you're just ready, you want to jump on a free one-to-one consultation, I'll understand you. See whether the process that I just explained, whether my program is the right thing for you or not. And if not, I'll guide you in the best place possible. So yeah, hopefully this helped. Let me know if you have any questions. I have my Instagram link down below as well, so you can DM me, ask me any questions on how you can um, basically get this process started even quicker.